Hi, my name is Kate. I'm also known as Two Little Kits, and welcome to my FlossTube. Oh, I had a bubble in my throat. I have a few new works in progress that I can't wait to share with you. I have exciting news on my storefront. I have exciting news about my series that I've been working on, and a few other little bits and pieces to share with you. So let's get started. I want to start this FlossTube with talking about, of course, the heater just kicked in. My apologies. I want to start by talking about the series that I've been working on over the past 12 months, which if you've been watching my FlossTube or following along on social media, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And that is my Zodiac series that I've been working on. It's all complete. It's all finished. I released the final pattern this past Monday, and that is this piece here, which is Zodiac Pisces, which is the 12th zodiac sign. If you didn't know, they have an order, and yeah, Pisces is the last one. I'm all done with this series. I am so proud of myself for sticking with it for the entire year. I started designing the first two, so Aries and Taurus, back in March last year, and released Aries in April after frantically stitching it as quickly as I could to release it within the Aries time frame. I'm really glad that I just said stuff it. I've been wanting to do this series for ages. The time is now to do it. Don't wait another year. Just get started. And even though it was a little bit of a rush to get started because I was on a tight time frame for it, I'm so glad that I did it. Yeah. I released each pattern just to catch everyone up. These are all the pieces, by the way. I'll show them all off actually while I talk. So I released them roughly every 4 to 6 weeks. There was one that was delayed a little bit, and that was Capricorn. I accidentally said it was Sagittarius in a recent video that I did, but it was Capricorn because it was the Christmas period that delayed me. But I'm really happy with how they've all come out. I love that there's no backstitch with any of them because I feel like that sort of makes it more approachable for a beginner. I don't really know what else to say, but I've still got a few more to show you. So this is the one that was delayed. But I did still get it out in time, thankfully. And this is the last one. So it's been a lot of work. There were two that I stitched really fast, really quickly, I did it within 4 days or something like that, just because I kind of lost track of my days and weeks, and then would suddenly realize, oh my gosh, I need to get this piece ready for Monday. There were a couple that I think I released on the following day, so on a Tuesday after I hoped to release it, but I'm considering it a complete success that I did it all as I had planned. So yay me, pat on the back, all that kind of good stuff. I would love to know what you think of the series. I do want to point out that if you buy them on my website, there is a buy two, get one 50% off. So if you were to buy all 12 of them, you basically pay for 10 of them, if that makes sense, because 4 of them are 50% price. But I did it. Yeah. Let me know in the comments what you think, and let me know what your star sign is in the comments too. I am a Cancer, so this one is me, which I really think came out really nice. So yay. And I don't know if you realized, but they're all, so each star sign has an element attached to it. So fire, water, wind, and earth. And I'm just trying to fan them out. So they're all either fire, earth, air, water, and the colors match their element, which, I don't know, I was pleased about doing that. And I've tried to keep the colors for all of them the same. So with Pisces, the reds and yellows are what I've used for the fire and air patterns. Same with this one, the red and the blue is the same colors. So they're all just kind of match together really nicely. I am thinking about a pattern that I might release that can house all of them together, that you could get I don't know, I either might list it for free, I'm not sure, or if you get X amount of the patterns at one go, you'll get that for free, or just as a standalone pattern that you could get, which wouldn't be terribly expensive. But yeah, I'm thinking, I've been brainstorming what I might want to do, because they do feel like I could put them all together. Let me know what you think. Okay, I want to move on to my works in progress, because there's been a lot of stuff happening with that. The first thing I want to share is a couple of new patterns that I have been working on. That is not the right project bag for that. Okay, so this first one is a pattern. Oh, my scissors are magnetized to my needle minder. One sec. Right, I'm just gonna put my needle at the back. Okay, so this is a new design that I was hyper focused on working on yesterday, like all of yesterday. I had the idea in my mind, and then I was like, I know exactly what I want to do. I didn't even sketch it out. I just designed it all in my cross stitch pattern app. So yeah, you can't tell what it is right now, but this is the piece. The pattern name is going to be Introverted Club, and basically I will overlay the pattern mock-up, but basically it says introverted but willing to discuss cross stitch. So it's kind of meta. I do have a couple of patterns that are a little bit meta when it comes to cross stitching, so that they reference cross stitching as a cross stitch pattern. That's what I mean by meta patterns. Yeah, I had the idea and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to make this happen. So my hope is I'm actually going to release this next week. I did all of that just yesterday, as well as designed the piece yesterday. So I feel pretty confident that I could get it all done. I do need to, however, find one of my colors or go and get a new skein of that color, which I will probably do the latter, to be quite honest. And that's the main color for the word introverted. Let me know what you think. I will likely find room on that wall to hang it up, because I really like it. I'm very pleased with how it's come out. I may have to tweak the word cross stitch. I'm not certain on the colors that I've chosen and whether or not the two teals will pop against each other or kind of muddle. So I gotta see how that goes. But that's why I test stitch. That's why if you're a pattern designer, you should test stitch and not just rely on the digital mock-up, because the digital mock-up is so wrong so often. Anyway, that's my little soapbox TED talk. Anyway, let me know what you think of that and if you would like that next week. My next new work in progress is actually a Stitch People portrait. So this here, this is another demo piece that I designed, and I will probably actually pick up and focus on over the next week, because I have, as a tangent, I have signed myself up for my kids' school's silent auction to donate a Stitch People portrait. And so last year, I've done 2 portraits for silent auctions for my kids' school. I did one in 2023 and I did one last year. And for last year, I stitched up this piece as a demo, and I was hoping to make a second demo piece, basically. So yeah, this is a pretend family. This family, as far as I know, doesn't exist. And yeah, my hope is to have a second one that I can hang up with, like, my flyer that I created. Whoops. Oh, I almost dropped it. That was a good catch. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So, and the silent auction for that is later this month. So I want to make sure, I'm going to try, not make sure, I'm going to try to get this done, because it has an example of other things within this portrait. So like a baby on the hip, and it's got a dog, and it'll have backstitching lettering. Like those are the 3 things that I wanted to incorporate into a portrait. And also just a portrait that's a little bit smaller in size, because that one has a bunch of characters in it. So yeah, that's something I've been working on. I did the design a little while ago, and I just started stitching it this past fortnight. My next work in progress, I'm going to take out of my hoop, because I have to keep shifting my hoop to stitch it. So I'm used to taking it out of its hoop anyway. And the reason I'm taking it out of the hoop and moving it is not only because it's big, but I'm using the hoop and not stitching in hand because this fabric is really soft and the weave is just really flexible. But anyway, this is the piece that I've been working on quite a bit over the last fortnight. I've really been enjoying working on it. This is Post-Apocalypse Fantasy by Flossie Fox Shop. So I started this because I finished, what's it called? The Flower Dragon Meadow stitch along. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm obliged in a way to always have a Flossie Fox Shop pattern in progress. I'm joking. But yeah, I picked this piece up. I talked about it last FlossTube. I picked this up with a bunch of other patterns of hers. I did say I was probably going to start stitching this fortnight, and I did. And as you can see, I've done a bunch. I've been having to stitch it in the hoop because the fabric is just so, which is, I don't know, it's kind of made me focus more on how the stitches are sitting. So it actually looks like really nice. Like all of the stitches are puffy and kind of flat, and I am stitching this on 16 count, which I don't normally do. I either normally do 14 or 18 count. I'm surprised at how puffy the stitches are for 16 count because I'm using only 2 strands. I don't know. Anyway, this one has 3 color options, by the way, this pattern. I'm doing the one, I think it's called Cozy is the color option. I'm not certain on that though. I just liked how muted it looked. So yeah, I've been working on that. It'll look better when it doesn't have a big ring in it. But that fabric is so nice and perfect for a post-apocalypse piece, in my opinion. Plus, the good news is I have more of that fabric because I didn't use the entire cut that I had. So that's pretty cool. All right, so those are the new pieces that I started this fortnight. The other things that I've been working on are, let's start with this one because it's kind of annoying to get out. I gotta be so gentle, and I still haven't moved my hoop and I haven't cut off bits. So give me a sec. We don't want little stray bits of floss. Okay, I think that's all of them. I should put these scissors in that project actually because they're bendy. You can see that they're bendy. And that might actually be more helpful. Oh no, I found another one. It's hiding because it was dark. Okay, is that all? I think so. All right, anyway, this is Fairytale by Heaven and Earth Designs. I am, one sec, oh no, I've got it written down. I have done 12,780 stitches in this, which is 14.42% of the way through. And I've done a colon instead of a dot in my notes, which I just fixed. So yeah, it's coming along. I really have to figure out how I want the Q-snap. I will hopefully figure that out before next FlossTube. I am likely, I know last time I talked about this, I was going to turn it so that it was a horizontal Q-snap, but I'm thinking I'm actually going to keep it vertical and just move it over. It actually, like if I hold it back, it actually looks like a thing. It looks like a building. I love it. The other reason why I need to move it in the Q-snap is because this bottom bit is getting very bendy and it's so hard with all the excess fabric to tighten it. That's what I found anyway. So yeah, let me know what you think of that. It's impressive. And I still can't believe there are people in the group, like the Facebook group for this stitch along, that are finished. Like this has, I think, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering correctly, 88,650 stitches. Like, what? How are people finished? I know there are people that are retired and that's just what they want to do all day because they can, but still, oh my gosh. So yeah, it's coming along. I would love by the end of, I want to say by the end of, actually no, I'll say is by the end of my kids' spring break. So like that's mid-April-ish that I've finished the entire top row. Don't hold me to that, but that would be pretty cool. Even if it's just like that much, I wouldn't do all of that height across because this has taken me 2.5 months and the end of spring break is roughly 1 month. So I don't have enough time. Anyway, there's that one. And I'm gonna swap my scissors. Cool. let's go to a really small work in progress now, because why not? This is Sunflowers by the Stitch Palettes. I did a little bit because I had a few appointments this fortnight. Mostly the flowers that are up here is what I did. I do need to find a missing color for this one as well. I'm likely, you know what? As another tangent, I haven't been to a craft store this whole year. Like, the entire year. I am so impressed with myself that I haven't been to a craft store. I mean, I bought patterns, but like that, that's pretty good. Anyway, I gotta figure out what color I'm missing, because I'm certain I'm missing a color or two in that, and I just don't know where it is. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't mind if I've got doubles of bobbinated floss, so I'll just do another one. Anyway, my next work in progress, we'll finish with Flower Prairie. So my next work in progress is this one, and watch, I've been rolling it up so I can go like this. So this is Extraordinary Birds by Lola Crow Cross Stitch, and it may not look like I've done a lot because I haven't done a huge amount, but I have worked on this a lot. So I've been, when I last shared it, I just finished this guy, like finished. I'd done all his back stitching and everything, and I was up to this peacock, and so that's all I've done. But look at how much confetti stitches there are in this guy. There's a lot, but he is gonna look so amazing. I'm currently filling in all of the gaps that are there with the like dark teal that's in it. That's pretty much that, and the white is the rest of the cross stitching left to go. And then there's a buttload of back stitching, like a buttload of back stitching. There's so much with this one. I actually, and I don't usually do this, I printed out not only the regular, what I call the regular cross stitch pattern, which is colors with symbols and back stitching. I printed that out, as well as the uncolored symbols with back stitching, because I needed to make sure I wasn't missing any back stitching, because there's so much. This guy's going to take me a while. I hopefully will be close to finishing him next fortnight. I don't know. I've got other stuff that I want to focus on, as I've explained. But yeah, he's very cool, and he's very chunky because there's a lot of moving around behind the scenes. So that's how that one is coming along. But I've been folding this one up a bit differently than my usual, because I'm trying to work out some of the creases that are in it. Yes. Okay, so my last work in progress is Flower Prairie. I can do this as well. So this is my Flower Prairie stitch for 2026. I finally did the flower that I really liked designing, which is, yeah, this one here, the little blue like double flower. So I don't know if you've noticed, I've got a few, like this one over here. I have a few flowers that are upside down, and this one here, there's the three, I believe. So it's those three that have flowers that are like, eh. And that's, yeah, to just mix things up a little bit. I didn't do any of those kinds of flowers in the previous two DIYs stitch alongs. So that's Flower Meadow and Flower Field. And I think that just gives it a little bit more character for this piece. And as I've said in the past, like, you can get all of the DIY patterns and mix them together, and if you like those three droopy flowers and you like other flowers from the other ones, you just pick the ones you like and go from there. So yeah, I wish that I'd had the fabric the same color, because it's kind of hard to see some of the colors on this fabric because they're so light. But I'm 2.5 months in, 3 and a bit. I totally forgot what date it was. 3 and a bit months in. I am not gonna unpick this and redo it, and yeah, it is what it is, and it's getting there. So that's all my works in progress. I do have this all kitted up, but I've had other stuff that I want to work on. I pulled out some fabric which kind of matches it almost matches my Flower Prairie fabric, actually. I have kitted up this, which is one of the Nath Nolu patterns that I shared last FlossTube, and I won't show it up close because it's the full pattern, but it's the fox that is quilting. So I have, actually that could be where some of my colors are missing, maybe. No, they're all the wrong kinds of colors. Like it's very earthy colors. It's very nice. But yeah, so I have this all kitted up, ready to go when I'm ready to stitch it. I just have 7 works in progress already. I probably don't need any more right now. And technically I've got more. Like, I've explained that all of these project bags back here are works in progress, and I do have 2 more downstairs that are there for if I feel like working on them, but they're not high priority or anything. They're just downstairs. There's also a couple that are on the floor behind me in project bags. They're not gonna get dirty, but yeah. I have a lot. Someone actually, that's a good tangent. Someone suggested on YouTube, I think, that I should do a parade of all of my works in progress, whether they're current or on hold, and share what they look like as a video. Let me know if that's something that you'd like to see, because it would take me quite a while to confirm that I've collected everything and share it. But I'm willing to do that because that could be fun. That would not be a FlossTube video necessarily, but I am thinking about doing more what would be called evergreen content for my YouTube channel. Yeah, it would kind of break up my flow a little bit of what I post on my channel, but I think that's okay. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know. Oh, my drink's almost done. I need more caffeine. Okay, what are we going to talk about next? The only other thing that I have noted, apart from IRL stuff, is the new blog posts that are on my website. And of course my nose starts getting itchy because I'm sitting here. I don't know what it is about this space and talking, but it makes my nose really itchy. So I have 2 new blog posts on my website. I'm gonna bring them up so I know the titles properly. And I have, as always, quite a few that are in the process. I've been having computer issues and I still haven't cleaned up my desk, and I need to fix and do both of those things so that I can take some photos for those blog posts, and I still haven't done that. But anyway, the 2 posts that I have, the first one is called The Finish Line, a gentle guide to washing and pressing your stitches. And that's using photos that I took about 2 years ago for this blog post specifically. And so I'm finally posting that post. It's basically, it talks about how to wash your project, which I highly recommend you do, because handling your work, it gets all the oils from your fingers onto it. Unless you're using like a grime guard or something like that, then yeah, you're passing on dirt to your work and you want it to look awesome. So I suggest washing them, but you do need to make sure that you can wash it, because if you're using fabric or floss that are hand dyed, it will most likely run the colors if they're not color fast. So keep that in mind and check out the post if you're willing. The other blog post I have is called The Ultimate Cross Stitch Toolkit, 10 Tools I Can't Live Without. It basically is 10 things that you can use while stitching. Some of the things you must have, like floss and fabric, and some of the things you don't necessarily need, which is like needle minders and Q-snaps and storage. Like you can just stitch in hand for starters. You don't need a frame, and you can just use a Ziploc bag to store something. Like you don't need storage, but in my opinion, these things are something that I can't live without. So yeah, and again, that's another beginner oriented post. Get my clothes. There we go. And that's all of the stitchy things that I have to talk about this fortnight, which took a lot longer than I expected looking at the little screen above where I'm supposed to look. The only 2 things that I have noted to talk about that's been happening in my personal life is, the first one is, hopefully you can't really tell, hopefully, but I've been having so much skin problems on my face, and that is due to the fact that I tried a new pimple cream called Different Gel, and apparently I am allergic to it, or or not necessarily allergic, but my body reacted very negatively to it. And I got a breakout of rash all here and like the bridge of my nose and a little bit here. And so I just had red and in some places here, which is kind of what's left over, thankfully, some open wounds. So my face has been so sore this week, which has been really not fun to deal with. I was using the gel for about 2 weeks before my skin started having issues, and then it was just like bam, I woke up on a Saturday and my face was just in pain and it was red. And so that's the only thing I've changed and done differently with my skincare. So I know for a fact that it's that stuff and I am not using it again. But yeah, hopefully you can't really tell. I do have a bit of makeup on. Yeah, it has gone down. I couldn't even smile without my face hurting and talking, depending on how I move my mouth. It was bad. Do not recommend, but like as in pain, recommend. I'm sure the gel works for other people, but yeah, I definitely won't be using it again. Yeah, so that happened. And the other thing that happened was I got pulled over after I dropped off my daughter at school one morning and was so freaked out because I was like, but I was doing the school zone limit. I thought he pulled me over because I was driving too fast. Turns out my tabs had been expired for too long and I hadn't even realized. So I had all these plans on that Tuesday that happened, which it was last week. So like the day after I released my last FlossTube, when I say last week. But I had to then spend a bunch of money to fix everything up. And my chill / catch up day was completely interrupted. So that sucked. Check your tabs if you're in America. Check your car stuff if you're not in America. Anyway, it's all sorted. I'm all fixed. Everything's good now. But that's everything. As I say, that's everything. I always sit here and I'm like, did I forget anything? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go and pat Noodle because he's stretching and crunching in his box. And I will leave it there. Thank you so much for being here and for supporting me and my channel. I truly appreciate it. Don't forget to comment on some of the things that I've talked about and subscribe if you're not already, and like the video if you did like it. That always helps, that little bit on the algorithm. And until next time, I will see you around the internet. Bye.